Your mic isn't working. Go ahead. Describe your fascination with P. Diddy. And
I want to go to a party.
You do?
Yeah.
Want to party?
Yeah.
All night long?
Yeah.
To the break of dawn? Yeah, we can talk about it.
Yeah, you got a helicopter?
Oh, my.
Want to meet Bruce Willis?
Sure.
Hey, Segovia, back with another video. Hope everyone out there is having a good day. Y'all, we're back with another one, back with another hour banger for you guys. I got a lot done this afternoon. One more day off from the baby. He's at the grandparents' house. Got a lot done outside. I'll get into that at the end of the video. I know you guys don't like my chit-chatting in the beginning, so we save it at the end for the true CaveFam. You know what I'm saying? But enough with the chit-chat. Let's do what we all came here for. Let's get into the video. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the show.
Who the fuck is this guy posted all over Times Square?
What in the world is this? Who the hell is this guy? His face is all over the place. Look at this shit.
That's weird.
Look at him, he's everywhere. Who the fuck is this guy? Anyone know who he is?
It's all New York. Who the fuck is this guy? What's going on in New York, y'all?
Agents or something? What is this, a wanted flyer? You know when they call you into the police station and put a bunch of pictures in front of you? And pretty much every one of them looks the same, but they have a mustache, one wearing glasses. And they try to trick you. Maybe you guys can let me know who this guy is.
Yeah, I don't know what the heck that is.
Let me tell y'all a true story. Be simple and watch this video to the end. Faces on the screens in Times Square, New York. This video is for entertainment purposes only. Let's... Who the hell is that? Who's controlling those screens in Times Square, New York? Who's that? Shh! Shut up! There are faces everywhere. Faces all over the screens in Times Square, New York. This is what people are saying. What is going on here, guys? Who is that? Y'all better not say it looks like me. Come on! Who is that? Does he have waves or braids? What the sh... Shut up! It's not a game, guys. Who is that? And why is his face on all those screens in Times Square, New York? Why? People are saying that all the lights cut off in Times Square, and then those faces popped up on the screens. Who is that? He was blinking. Who did that? My friend told me he was there. Who was that? Stop playing with me, son. This video is for entertainment purposes only. I don't know what's going on there, but my friend showed me that video and he sent it to me. He said, bro, did you see what's going on in Times Square? These faces are torn up on the screen. I said, bro, it's nothing to worry about. Just go about your day. Shut up! It's not a game, guys. Who was that? He had braids. He had waves. It looked real creepy. What do you guys think? Stop playing with me, son. It's not a game on here, guys. You know what time is it? Shut up! Was you there? Did you hear about this? Like I said, they told me this. I'm not making any of this up. Stop playing with me, son. It's not a game on here, guys. You know what time is it? Shut up! 2025 is about to be real. Get ready. You think you control things? Nah, I'm just playing around. Stop playing with me, son. It's not a game on here, guys. You know what time is it? Shut up! But I tell you one thing. If I'm ever in Times Square and the lights go off and it turns back on and I see faces on all the screens, I think it's time for us to go home.
Everything in here has been taken from some place where people are either killed or maimed or so many ways. So it's tragic for me, you know, to even go in. People are very, very interested in the museum. And there's some people that are afraid to even go in. Right here is a conjuring mirror. Everything and anything in here we have investigated. Don't ever touch anything. And if you do, let me know. This is the worst thing in here. It's that doll. I'm not gonna stare at it though.
And that's the one that's sort of depicted a little bit in this movie, correct?
Yes, it is. That's the Annabelle doll.
This is China's first drone mothership, and the future of war? It's looking pretty scary. It's called the Jutian UAV, and it's designed not just to carry weapons, but to launch, control, and coordinate what some are calling the swarm midair. Think of it like a flying command center, because one of the specific features that is raising some eyebrows is the UAV's internal base system. Initial reports are saying that it's capable of dropping up to 100 mini drones, including potentially kamikaze types, all for the purpose of saturating and overwhelming enemy air defense systems. But because of its size, it's not stealthy, and it can be shot down fairly easily. So its usefulness would be as a second wave force after air supremacy is achieved. And while the Chinese state broadcaster CCTV said that its first test flight is coming in June, some military observers question its legitimacy, claiming that this is more about intimidation and propaganda rather than real capability. But what do you think? Do you think the mothership will be legit or just hype?
There's no trash cans within 1,000,000 miles of here, so people have started using the mailbox as a trash can.
Do you know why a soccer goal is the length that it is, like from post to post? Because there are 2 trees in Cambridge, England, that are that far apart. That was the first soccer goal. They just went, well, you got to kick it between those 2 trees.
Yeah.
And the goal is literally
That's the standard.
That's the standard.
That's it.
One of the things that's been fascinating me, the footprints in White Sands, New Mexico, and the footprints of those people and the animals that they lived with are all there, preserved. They think it's a young man or a woman, and they're walking very brisk walk, really fast, along, they say, the banks of the lake. In other words, it's a straight line. The line goes for a mile and doesn't deviate more than a meter from straight. The set of tracks goes out and occasionally stops, and then there's a tiny little set of tracks that circle around like a child. And then it's just her tracks, and then again a rest stop and the child. So she carried the kid, a child, a toddler or something like that, really fast along the bank of this lake. And after she passes, a giant sloth comes by and arrives at her set of tracks, and then stands up on its hind legs and looks around, and then gets back down on all fours and keeps going, crosses her tracks. And then a short time later, she comes back along the same set of tracks, walking beside her own tracks, now no longer brisk walk, and no child. Those tracks were not trampled by thousands of animals in the days and months and years ahead into the future. No, something happened very shortly after those tracks were made that caused them to be buried and only preserved. Recently. What was that? You know what I'm saying?
Fucking cool.
That is
crazy, dude.
I'm very close to White Sands, New Mexico. So, yeah, I didn't know that history was out there. It's pretty dope.
Want to change your life? Always put salt in your water. It's incredible.
Every time you drink water?
Yeah, I'd say almost all of the time there is salt in my water, or electrolytes with sodium. There's a whole conversation we have about salt, but raising blood volume by putting salt in your water is a really good idea, especially if you take a vasodilator. And this is good in the bedroom or in the gym.
Old school little car right there. It's real cool to go look up the videos of how cars, what they used to be able to do. They could like ride up a mountain and do all kinds of crazy things. Now cars can like barely take a turn at like whatever, 30 miles an hour. But these things could just go all over the place. And these old school cars, they used to run on alcohol. That was why the whole prohibition. You had to get rid of that because that competes with Rockefeller oil. Can't tax that if you use a distillery to make your fuel. Or you could do moonshine, or you could do hemp. Hemp could actually create fuel so that you could run these cars around. But there's no tax on that, so that doesn't work. And that doesn't tie back to the Federal Reserve. So they had a prohibition so that they could eliminate the competition. But everybody asks, where can you find radium? It's in Colorado. That's where it is. The largest sources of radium are called carnotite. Carnotite, I think it is. But it's in Colorado. The largest sources of radium and uranium are in Colorado.
Question real quick. Who owns BlackRock?
Larry Fink. Actually, BlackRock was founded by 5 Jewish people. You know, they're still all involved.
Yeah, people don't realize how evil BlackRock is. This is the biggest financial company in the world. They're the ones pushing the DIA. They're the ones pushing all the weird stuff, a lot of the gay stuff, the stuff. Like, how is that in a financial benefit? These are not our friends.
Your mic isn't working. Go ahead. Describe your fascination with P. Diddy. And
I want to go to a party.
You do?
Yeah.
Want to party?
Yeah.
All night long?
Yeah.
To the break of dawn? Yeah, we can talk about it.
Yeah, you got a helicopter?
Oh, my.
Want to meet Bruce Willis?
Sure.
Sure. Yeah, look at these girls.
What do you think is going to go on at that party that you got to get into?
It's going to be crazy. Anything crazy.
Well, girls, I'm having a barbecue Sunday if you want to come over.
I'll go to that too.
Yeah. Oh, good. All right.
And you girls into role play?
Can I put my hoofs on you, baby?
There's one here who's like, just mildly interested. I mean, she made a special trip in today. She wasn't doing it to work.
Yeah, she's acting all cool.
Yeah.
I appreciate that, baby girl.
Respect you.
Yeah.
Baby, all.
You know what's crazy is Howard Stern and all of them know what go on at those parties. So rewind it and listen to it again, knowing Howard Stern and them know what go on at those parties.
I'm telling you, baby oil it just go with everything. You can get baby oil on pizza. I done got it on pizza before. You taste it, you can't even hardly taste it. I done had baby oil all around my mouth before. I don't even know what's on there. It's just a baby oil type night. It's just baby oil.
In the Great Depression, wages were controlled, and this is when employers found a loophole, which is that if I can't pay my employees more, I'm going to give them benefits. I'm going to give them retirement. I'm going to give them health insurance. I'm going to give them life insurance. Once one employer started doing it, then everyone has to compete. It no longer became an individual person purchasing their insurance. Normally, insurance is not something you utilize on a daily basis, right? The idea of insurance is it's a rare event, but somehow insurance has become baseline for healthcare. If your employer can save $100 on your health insurance, they make $100. So they're not incentivized to provide the best insurance for you. The insurance provider is incentivized to deliver the least amount of care possible and charge the highest premiums. This is literally where our current insurance system was born, because prior to this, it wasn't like this.
I'm in Walmart right now. So Walmart came out and said that they're also going to have to raise prices because of the tariff increase. A year ago it was 10%, now it's 30%. Of course, very recently it was shot up to 145%. The one thing I can't help but think about is how many shelf labels there are in here. Like, this is just the wiper blade aisle. So now, because of this fight that no one asked for, still no one can defend and understand, every retailer out there is going to have to change their price tags. The logic initially was to do American made, but even that is thrown out the window. Yet another way we stick it to the hourly worker, right?
Tory Lanez and Meg, what would you take on that? Because I know you got to take on everything. I know
it's a difficult position because somebody's not going to tell the truth. And the truth has got to be told. In all circumstances, the truth has got to be told. So if you don't want to say she shot her, then you shot her. And that's the end of that.
The real story here, guys, is that we were living under a shadow government for 4 years. Clearly, Joe Biden was never in charge. He couldn't have been. He most likely had cancer while he was in office. And he didn't tell the public, which, by the way, the American people had a right to know that. This is a massive, massive scandal. And the scandal is not just that, well, White House officials lied, as Jake Tapper wants it to be. No. First of all, there's a massive cover-up that included the media, which also included Jake Tapper, but that our government was not being run by the man that we allegedly elected to office.
Yesterday,
Well, that's crazy, y'all. He got diagnosed with, pretty bad cancer. And, there's a reason why he stepped down as president, right? They were telling us he's incoherent. They weren't telling us the whole story. They weren't. Because magically, 4 months after he's out of office, this comes out. Haven't seen him. Even when he stepped down, we didn't see him at all. He just disappeared. We didn't see him at all until we haven't seen him. So What do you guys think of that, y'all?
Cake ice cream. Dirt cake ice cream. I tried it for the first time with the founder of Ben & Jerry's. Have you had dirt cake with
No.
Ben & Jerry? The
Never had
greatest ice cream in the world. Not sponsored by them. This is not a sponsorship. It's the most ridiculous.
They're not gonna know because it's beeped every time you're talking.
I'm a chunky monkey guy.
So we go to Bradenton because one of my boys was going to IMG for soccer camp, and I said, guys, everybody here has to try dirt cake. So I go to the store at the gas station. I buy pints of these. Bring it as a try. Oh my God! So we bought dirt cake yesterday. It's in the fridge. I go in the club room and we're watching one of the games. I said, Tico, why are the girls there in the kitchen too quiet? So they go and they come back. He says, no, nothing. They're not doing anything. I don't know. They were too quiet for too long. I go in the freezer. I open it up and there is a bite of dirt cake. I'm like, who ate this dirt cake?
Did the kids out each other?
No, nobody did.
No way.
Yeah, I bet you respect that.
I respect that. I do respect that.
I don't think you could survive a week in the Amazon River, because I don't think you stand a chance against a lot of the stuff that lives down there. We won't even mention caimans, jaguars, anacondas, river dolphins, river otters. We'll only talk about the fish. Let's start off with the red-bellied piranha, arguably the most recognizable Amazonian species. Now, these guys can bite steel wire in half, so you can only imagine what they do to your finger. But wait, I want you to meet their bigger, badder, more aggressive cousin, the black piranha. Now, not only is this the biggest piranha species in the world, but it has one of the strongest bite-to-size ratios of any animal on the planet. It's 3 times more than an alligator. But there's more. This is called a payara. It's also called a vampire fish. It's pretty clear to see why. Now, these guys use those giant bottom fangs of theirs to puncture or snag other fish. Now, apparently they're not dangerous to humans, but I don't want to take any chances. Or, what about the electric eel, which can shock you with 800 volts of electricity, or 1 amp, which now, you might say, oh, 1 amp isn't a lot, until you realize that it takes 1/10 of that to kill a person. And they grow over 8 feet long. But wait, there's more! How would you like to get stung by a stingray with a barbed spine that'll rip your flesh out? Cause those live in the Amazon River too. Or what about get attacked by a bull shark? Cause they live in the Amazon River too. Or, what about the various different kinds of catfish that vary in sizes, like this one, the Paraiba, which can grow really big, enough to swallow a person, and according to local legends, they have! Or what about this parasite, the kangaroo, which I'm not gonna go into much detail, but just know, if you pee in a river, these guys can swim up that pee, get stuck in your urethra, and because they have barbed spines, they can only be taken out by surgery. Now, apparently this is a myth, but I'm not taking any chances with this! And don't even get me started on the pacu, cause they're called nutcrackers. You wanna know why? Give me a second. Those teeth, they will crack your nuts!
Hey, I'm gonna show y'all something, man. This shit crazy, right? You know how y'all be going to McDonald's and Wendy's and shit, eating chicken nuggets and chicken sandwiches? Well, I'm gonna show you how they make this shit. Alright. Mechanically separated chicken. Now watch this. This is chicken nuggets and chicken sandwiches and shit, man. That's what they make that shit with. Y'all please share this shit, man. This shit is unhealthy as fuck, man.
Wow, it's such a nice day out.
Yeah, they did a great job with the projection. It's a nice one. They added clouds too.
Oh, look at that cute bird. Did you see they just renovated that building?
Yeah, I wonder what it was like before the mud flood.
Don't drink that!
Stop you. It almost made you gay. And asexual.
Oh, hey babe, a Jew tunnel.
I work in the advertisement, and a long time ago I was working on a project with McDonald's, and I learned something that now I can never unsee. It says right there, made with 100% beef, which is such a funny twist of words, because it's made with 100% beef, not made of 100% beef. With the McDonald's thing, it was like their chicken nuggets are made with 100% chicken. You know, there's a lot of other stuff in there, and some of it might not be 100% chicken, but it's made with 100%.
Gotcha.
Still tastes good.
Did you guys know about the World Exhibition that used to go on before World War II? Where all the worlds would come together and show their technology and what they created? And then after World War II, all this stopped happening. It's all a hidden secret now. So the technology that other countries create, they don't want to show the world. Watch this video until the end, comment below, and share this video with someone you love, care, and respect.
Hidden was greater forbidden knowledge.
the ancient world fair called the New Dawn. If you, dear follower, do not know what the New Dawn exhibition or the World Exhibition is, I will tell you about it. It is a very old exhibition, as the exhibition was established 300 years ago. It is a traveling exhibition every year in a different country. It was a global event such as the World Football Championship and international competitions, but in science only, and it was all his mother brings out her discovered knowledge to the public, and people, scientists, and the press come and watch it. Then the First and Second World War broke out, and almost everything disappeared, and each nation began to hide its knowledge from the other nation.
Okay, we get a piece of hot lava out, and then I'm going to touch it. Okay. Here we go.
I love living in California. Some people think the state's gone to hell. They couldn't be more wrong. It's doing better than ever. Welcome to my new house. Just moved in under this little overpass.
Why'd you move in here?
Oh, it was the best option on the market. It's actually part of a drainage line, so it'll be life-threatening if we get a lot of rain.
Whoa, that sounds dangerous.
I'm just kidding. Our state doesn't have any water, so I'll be fine. Yeah, after I lost my house in the fire that the state couldn't put out, I couldn't rebuild because I can't get house insurance in this state. So I thought, well, this is perfect. It's open air on both ends.
Where's your bathroom?
If you just walk out of the tunnel, you'll find a sidewalk up there we all use. It took forever to acquire this property. There were a dozen or so people that overdosed from fentanyl 7 months ago.
It took the state that long for them to clean up their bodies?
No, the state doesn't have that kind of manpower. It took that long for the rats to completely devour their corpses. But it's good to have it all cleaned up now. Honestly, California is better than ever.
Why do you think 3 million people have moved out of California since 2020?
Yeah, that doesn't really make sense. Maybe the state's gotten too good for them. Oh, and would you mind pulling your mask up over your nose? Okay, thank you. In California, we still care about slowing the spread of disease.
Sure. I just stepped on a needle.
Oh, yeah, they're kind of indigenous around here. Speaking of disease, you probably just got one.
I've heard people speak negatively about California decriminalizing crime.
Well, robbery might not be against the law in California, but using plastic bags is. And I appreciate that. Now,
what the hell is going on with prisons right now? France is now building a $450 million mega prison in the middle of the Amazon jungle. And no, this isn't Brazil, this is in their overseas territory of French Guiana. They said that this new fortress, which is expected to open in about 2028, will hold some of their worst criminals like drug lords, gang leaders, radical Islamists, and cartel leaders. And that's not even the wildest part. This prison is going to be so deep in the jungle that inmates literally won't be able to call home. And that's by design. Because remember those coordinated attacks on French prisons that we covered recently? Well, France's justice minister said that the whole point is to cut off cartel bosses that are still running their entire criminal organization from behind bars. It'll have a maximum of 500 inmates with a special wing just for the worst among the already worst. So the question is this just a coincidence? Or is El Salvador's prison strategy quietly inspiring a global crackdown?
But then could we not also say if ostensibly there hasn't been a fair primary for the Democrats since 2008, are they not also a threat to democracy? Yes. We often hear...
Fair enough. That is, yeah, I'm not going to argue with that point.
Do you know that allegedly all horses in America were extinct?
What?
There was an American horse that is what we think of, right? We think of wild Mustangs and stuff. Right. They were wiped out. And then the horses that are here today were brought into the Americas by the Spanish.
Oh, wow. I think I knew that.
I feel like I just found this out, and I was shocked by it.
Heard that on a podcast. Joe Rogan.
In all my years in Chicago, I was bred,
like Texas
born, and raised here. I have never seen a dust storm. You are looking at a live dust storm in the Windy City.
I gave him an iPad when he was 5 that had YouTube on it because I didn't know.
Yes, you didn't know.
And then I knew quickly that was a mistake. And it's, okay, let's take YouTube off. And we'll put the one that's called YouTube Kids because it says kids. And at the time, the CEO of YouTube was a grandma, like literally a grandmother. And so I'm like, okay, sure, YouTube Kids. Dude, he found nightmare stuff. He found superheroes having sex with each other. Like not kids, just.
There's some Tomb Raider, Lara Croft stuff on there, I'm sure.
Gotta be.
Took off the YouTube Kids. Man, long story short, we had to take the whole iPad away. The entire device was just addicting him. It was affecting his sleep patterns. It was affecting how much he wanted to go outside. He just wanted to be in that screen. Because once we stripped off the YouTube stuff, then we still had like kid-friendly games, but they were just so like pulling at him, you know. So we took away the iPad. Now he just has like a watch that's a phone, and like it's all locked. It's an Apple Watch, and I just got fully locked down.
There is, like, it's crazy, y'all, because my boy's gonna be 4 months tomorrow, and you know, when I'm laying in bed and I'm just, you know, scrolling, like we're about to go to sleep, I'll scroll on YouTube, watch some videos before I go to sleep, and I'll look over at him. He's hooked on it. Anytime that phone is out, like this thing freaking does something, y'all, because he doesn't know nothing about that. He doesn't know nothing about, you know, how we know how it's addicting and whatnot. Like, but his subconscious is just drawn to it. Like I saw some comments 'cause I asked like, what do you do? And you know, some people said do the things that are like he said, I put him on like things to learn, like how to count, you know, learn colors and stuff. But even that is just addicting, and it takes away from them wanting to play with toys or, you know, wanting to go outside. And you know, it's gonna be a tough subject to do, you know, because like I've had Mama Bear, like she's riding in the back seat and he's getting cranky and she'll put on a TV show for him on her phone. And I'm like, no, you know, don't put that on for him. Like get the rattle and, you know, rattle it for him and take his mind off it. Don't start getting him in that habit of this phone, you know, calming him down, you know, putting it on a cartoon that he likes or something. So it's so hard, you know, because when I'm feeding him, you know, I put on YouTube so I can watch it while I'm feeding him, and his eyes are over there, you know, looking at the TV, and it's just a trip to see how these things catch your eye so simple that we don't realize it because we're just so used to it. But seeing him, that he has no idea what's going on, but it just draws his attention. And that's what they did when they built these social medias, when they built these phones, they built it to addict us, right? And seeing him that has no idea what these things are, you know what I'm saying? Like it addicts him. He gets addicted to it easy. It's a trip to see.
No safe level of alcohol consumption. None. Zero. Every single drink that you take is moving you closer to death. If you're struggling to make progress, especially in your 20s, you need to go sober. Because even if you're drinking once every 3 weeks, it's not just that. It's that day, then it's the day after that, right? Even if it's only moderately heavy night. So you now need to like restart the engine. Alcohol is a big part of my upbringing, and I think anyone that says a night out can't be improved with alcohol hasn't had a sufficiently good night out. But also as a tool for productivity and self-improvement, going sober is like literally unrivaled.
You said Jeffrey Epstein committed. People don't believe it.
Well, I mean, listen, they have a right to their opinion, but as someone who has worked as a public defender, as a prosecutor, who's been in that prison system, who's been in the Metropolitan Detention Center, who's been in segregated housing, you know, you see one, and that's what that was.
He killed himself. You want me to get? I've seen the whole file. He killed himself.
The car you could afford is the one that you could buy outright in cash. I think people are sleeping on these sub $10,000 cars. You go on Craigslist or Auto Trader, so many great cars out there. $6,000, $7,000, $8,000. A Toyota Corolla, 100,000 miles on it. It's good for another 100,000 miles, easily. I think there's also a lot of pressure to be seen in a nice looking car. So if you see someone pull up in an old car, are they going to think that maybe because you're driving an old car, maybe you're not as good as what you do? If you're good at what you do, you should be driving a newer car because you could afford it. That's why I like Dave Ramsey's approach to
Most of my vehicles have come off of Craigslist, and I never had a problem with it. But I've had a little trouble with my Dodge Ram. I've had the radiator, um, the AC. I had to put a whole new AC kit in there. Those are like the two major things. But my Toyota Prius, after this Dodge Ram, when I'm done with that, I will be Toyota loyal from here on out because that Toyota Prius has over 250,000 miles. I have never had a problem with it. Never. One thing, my AC, my blower motor, but I watched a YouTube video on how to change it. Blower motor, I think was like $100. Installed it in 10 minutes. Blows freezing cold air now. So I will always be loyal to Toyota after this Dodge Ram when I'm done with it. It's still a good truck. Never problems, just those two things. But that Toyota, it's a different ball game, y'all. I'll be a Tacoma guy after this. What are you guys loyal to? What is your car What do you guys like? Let me know down below.
Kid, I always found it really sad how America didn't have any lions or parrots or any cool animals like that. And then I got older and found out we did. We just killed all of them. We had Carolina parakeets. Indiana was described as a jungle. Now it's the fucking highway state. We bulldozed fucking rainforests and put Dollar Generals on top of them, dude. We're going to hell.
My friend told me that Dr. Pepper is just barbecue Sprite, and now I can't unhear that. And it makes a lot of sense. It was invented in Texas, so I get it now.
Y'all are not even gonna believe this. You know the ship that just crashed into that bridge last night? This is absolutely mind-blowing. Do you know that next year in 2026, there's a huge world-changing event going on? For some reason, the guy who's in charge of the US really wants to celebrate the 250th birthday of America. If you don't understand just how highly symbolic, probably the most symbolic thing ever that is, I'll try to fill you in a little bit in a second. But yeah, they're getting all these ships together to do this crazy 250th year of America. Do you know what America really is? Notice this ship? Does it look familiar? It's the same ship that was going to be used in the celebration. Now, completely irrelevant and not related to what I just showed you, just a headline that 2 people were unalived and 17 were injured. Completely unrelated and irrelevant, again, just a fact, the ship left from Pier 17. We know it was power loss, just like this was power loss. Again, unrelated, but check this out. Pier 17 is a specific support structure that the Francis Scott Key Bridge that was struck by the Dali shipping container. Not related, but I wonder why scientists are saying that we live in a simulation. Now the unrelated craziest part. Did you know there's 2 major eschatology timeline beliefs? One is that we're entering into the 7th millennia on the 7th day he rested, being the 6,000 to 7,000th year, which is 2026, 2027. I've showed this before with old books and genealogy from the Bible. Now there's also a lesser known theory, and what are the chances that it lines up on the same exact date, 2026, 2027, 250th year, being a quarter or a season until things go down? I'm telling you, you really need to find out what America is, because it's the reincarnation of something so great, so massive, probably the biggest thing in the world to ever be, but it's already been defeated once. There's nothing new under the sun. What was will be again.
I'm gonna sound like a broken record player here, but you guys, this is what happens when you die and you have no one to collect your belongings. Everything gets left behind. You slowly fade out of existence. You can clearly see a pet has not lived in here for a very, very long time. And on top of that, though, this is so fresh. The power still works. The computer still works. But the one thing I will tell you is possessions and money mean absolutely nothing. Because when you die, you cannot take them with you. Memories mean more than possessions. Now go out there and live your life.
Oh, you guys are you safe? Are you safe, guys? I see you on TikTok. That's Shannon and Twilla.
When we left, they said there's a crazy guy outside.
Oh, yeah, of course.
We're like, it's okay, we'll just walk out.
They've been saying that for years. She goes to a school, and someone said that he came in here, did exactly what we did, and he felt stuck, which I felt stuck.
Yeah, a kid in my school, I go to a Christian school, so he just wanted to like learn about it because he's not from California. He's like, what is this random religion? Like, I grew up Christian, and he came here with a bunch of friends, and he was like telling them like, can you let me leave? I don't feel comfortable anymore, because they were like pressuring him to stay, locked them in a room with no windows, and he was like, I'm with a group of people. How can they manipulate a group of people like that?
I'm surprised they didn't send you out the side door because they did.
They offered that.
Oh, okay.
But we were like, it's okay, we'll go.
What does that do? They just don't want to. They don't want you being interviewed.
Yeah, they were like, you go outside, this crazy guy's gonna fill your head with lies.
Yeah, I'm filling with lies.
Most Americans do not understand the concept that their entire life is built on the US dollar being the global reserve currency. That when we lose dollar dominance, our lives get worse.
How am I just finding out that the bottom 60% of US households cannot afford a, quote, minimal quality of life, per new reports from CBS? 60%. That's a really odd way of saying the majority of Americans cannot afford to fucking feed themselves. Bro, we've gotten it so wrong. We've gotten it so wrong. The system has failed us all.
It's a group that was formed like in the 1700s, something like that, 1600s. This dude named Adam Weishaupt, he started this group of people, like powerful, rich people that basically could shape popular opinion and the way, the world is gonna move forward. The word means like the illuminated ones. Light is like information. You know what I mean? Like, oh, you see the light now. I found out the origin of the information that they were teaching. It basically comes from this group called the Essenes in Egypt. These are like the original black culture. They're like the scholars, doctors, scientists, esoteric thinkers, and they just knew how to do stuff. Like, for example, look at the pyramids. Nobody understands how the pyramids were built. These are the people that had that knowledge. Eye of Horus, the pyramid, those are artifacts and things from black culture. They represent certain things of our people from ancient black history of Egypt. You know what I mean? Ancient Egypt. You got these group of people, they break into the tombs, they steal the riches, like the gold and the mummies, and they rape and pillage our culture. Here they got you thinking your own people and your own artifacts and your own symbolism is evil.
Hey, yo, we need to get together and go at the government, son, the military, all these that's corrupting our minds, our brains, the Food and Drug Administration, Hollywood, you name it, healthcare, everything. So I have no fear in losing anything. You know what I'm saying? I got sickle cell, and people with sickle cell have a short lifespan. So I have no fear in losing my life. You understand what I'm saying? So you want to assassinate me? You want to assassinate my character? You want to do whatever you want to do? Do it. I dare you. You know what I'm saying? My army is strong in the street. But I'm letting you know right now, that's what time it is, man. You're going to start hearing more in my rounds about the government, politics, about crooked is in this world, and I'm exposing everybody. I don't give a no more, basically. And my niggas on the street, they already agree with me. They grew with me. As I was learning.
When he suddenly choked on an egg and died. I don't know, hard-boiled egg, scrambled egg, over easy, sunny side up. I don't know. But that's how he was offed. That's how he left this earth. Choked on an egg. There's some symbolism in that.
You need to see this shit. Once you realize how sick and demonic these people are that control the shows that your kids are watching, you'll want to protect your kids a little bit more. So this Nickelodeon green slime thing just creeped me out. So allegedly, Nickelodeon made that slime green for a reason, and not a good reason either. So if you know about Nickelodeon, you know they had a habit of shooting green slime on their guests. Some guests were adults, but most of the guests were kids. Matter of fact, look at this shit. Look at this shit right here. This is what they had a habit of doing. And once you figure out why they did this, it's even more sinister than you could believe. So people were saying that the reason they use the color green is because you can use that color green like you use a green screen. And I know you're saying to yourself, so what does that mean? It means you can change that form of liquid to any form of liquid. You get what I'm saying? And you know there's so many sick people in the world that do a lot of strange shit that they're not supposed to be doing. And now that I jumped down that rabbit hole, it makes even more sense to me. When you're editing with a green screen, you can replace whatever is in the green with anything that you want. And these sick, demented, demonic people replace those things with things that don't supposed to be there on kids. You get what I'm saying? And I say allegedly. Allegedly. If this is true, Nickelodeon might need to be held accountable immediately. We're living in a sick world. I'm out.
You know, I always say that, like, these people that create cartoons for our kids, and they're grown adults. Like, that's kind of weird if you think about it. And they put all these subliminal things in the background, and it goes even deeper than that. Like, you know, male softball coaches or male volleyball, girls volleyball and high school coaches. Like, that's just weird. Like, I know I wouldn't feel comfortable coaching a all women's softball team, you know, maybe a co-ed like little league, like if my son's in it, like, you know what I mean? Something like that. But like high school kids, like, or college, like a man, or even like OBGYN doctors that are males, like that's weird. Like that's, to me, I think that's weird. Like that's borderline predator type things. Like, you know, you get your license, so you're allowed to do it. But if you really sit there and think about it, like what type of guy? I mean, like, yeah, but you know what I mean? But I wouldn't feel comfortable doing that. Like, it's kind of weird. Am I wrong? Let me know. Am I wrong thinking like that? But I just think it's weird, like a male softball coach. Like, I'd be kind of creeped out if I had a daughter in high school and her coach for softball is a male. You know what I mean? That's like, you gotta watch them. You know, there's crazy things that happen. People aren't, you know, you don't know who this guy is. I don't know. That's just my thought, though.
Alright, you guys, I keep seeing videos about Mandela effects all over the place, and I think I can weigh in a little bit on one of them.
Your dope coffee
I've
cup.
had this mug since I was about, I don't know, 2 or 3, something like that. Cold milk.
It survived.
Ice
Coffee
cream
cup
soda.
survived. I would never use that. 1987.
Berenstain. I'm not saying, but I'm just saying.
Why is it that servers get tipped based off the amount I spent in the restaurant rather than the amount of work they did for the restaurant? Does it remind you of something? Okay. If I go to a restaurant right now and bought 10 soups, each soup costs $2, okay? The server has to go to the back, the cook has to cook 10 soups, and the server has to bring 10 soups out to me, okay? That's 10 times, that's 10 back and forth, that's a lot of work. But I only spent $20. So when they bring that robot out to me, and I tap my card on that robot, it's gonna ask me, 15%, 18%, 25%. Percent of what? Oh, the amount I spent in the restaurant, $20. All that back and forth, and they're only worth a percentage of that $20. Now, if I order a very expensive steak, the server has to go to the back once, the cook has to cook one steak, the server has to bring the steak out to me once. But now they're getting paid a lot more because I spent more money in the restaurant. Do you see who has the upper? Does it remind you of anything? Okay. Most servers and people who work in restaurants are not making a living wage. They're pretty much hoping to get tipped enough to be able to survive, live, and pay their bills.
Man, they make good money, though.
And that's all determined by the general public. People like us who go into a restaurant and spend money. Okay? So the people at the top are hoping the people at the bottom are keeping the people at the bottom alive. Does that remind you of anything? Okay. They tell you you are in control and that you have a choice of how much you tip, which you do. But what's more important is how they're training you to tip. When that robot comes out, it says 15, 18, 25%. They're telling you how much you should be tipping. And the more money the restaurant makes, the more they're okay with their servers making. Does that remind you of anything? Well, I hope you have a wonderful day. You know I love you and I'll see you tomorrow. But if I don't, stay out of trouble.
This is crazy. Guys, this is crazy. Does
That ain't
anybody
real.
know what's happening?
That ain't real.
Do you guys know? Holy crap, it's like a light show. It's all over the place. This is out of control. This is crazy. This is crazy. Oh my gosh. What is happening? Am I going out of my mind, or are all the stars moving? This is the coolest thing. This is the coolest thing.
That's okay with you real quick. Take me, let's do it.
I pull my curtains and oh hell no.
Make a run for it, girl.
I
Got
am
this.
so not going there.
Just make a run for it.
Oh hell no.
Fuck that.
I will say that Blue Origin thing was so hilariously cringy, and this is coming from someone who reluctantly was in that Imagine video. It was a time where you can't say no because you're not busy. They know you're not busy. I go, what's it for? Nothing, just to make people happy.
You know what? It didn't stick to you.
The first time I did it, I videotaped just my feet on the toilet with my pants around it, and I sang it. Because I just was so scared to be taking this as seriously as the others. And there were lovely people doing it. And then they said no, and so I said it. I did it kind of jokingly.
Ah, that's a funny bit to be on the toilet. You had a, hey, you're good. That's why you're the best.
Yeah, I just go like vagina, toilet, asshole, semen. And then if it fits in one of those, I'll do it.
And a lot of stuff does.
You've ever wondered how mud could completely cover and erase the whole entire earth? And watch this video. Of course, you should know by now that all over the world we see the same thing. Stories of building under the dirt. And I hear the same question all the time. How is that possible? How could all that mud come randomly and erase everything? I'll show you in 1 second. But just so we're aware, it wasn't just mud. It was crazy earthquakes happening all over the earth, like San Francisco when it was wiped off the map. A very fervent heat. Wonder where it came from. And again, earthquakes just destroying everything. Even melting Egyptian statues. That fire had to have been awfully hot to straight up melt granite and other types of rock. But we're not talking about this part of the Earth's destruction. How could mud bury everything? Do you know how fast, how crazy, how violent mudslides can be? This was in California in 2022. Like, if that went on for like another hour or two, everything would be covered. It would only take 1 split second for everything to change, and just a few generations for everybody to forget what had just happened. And it's about that time again.
I closed my Bank of America account because I went to take out $1,000 or something. They asked me what it was for, but the guy didn't want to give me the money until I told him what it was going to be for. So I closed my account right then and there. I probably had, I don't know, $20,000, $30,000 in the account. Not a lot, but not a little either. But there's guys actually on the internet now that I've seen that they'll come in and they'll say stuff like, you know, breast implants for my mom, or I got caught cheating. But I just think it's a little overreach. Worry about it. I'm gonna spend it.
Do you remember the Miami Mall UFO incident that happened in 2024? Why did the police pull up so deep over teenagers supposedly fighting at the mall? Why were people reporting seeing a 9 to 10 foot grayish looking alien? And apparently people reported seeing strange lights in the sky earlier that day. And this came shortly after the Las Vegas UFO incident.
Everyone thought a shooting star, then these people say there's aliens in their backyard.
So when this video hit the internet, it went viral really quick, and people thought it was like round 2. Now, of course, the official story is going to be, you guys are crazy, there's no aliens, and that's just social media for you. But you guys know me, I gotta look a little bit further than that. Here's a little clip from the scene. Here's a clip from outside of the mall. And here's a clip in question. Like, what is that?
Man. Yeah, this was big news when it happened, y'all.
So there were a few people in the mall that reported seeing these shadowy figures that were making a hissing or almost static-like noise. And apparently that's when everyone panicked, and that's why the cops showed up so deep to try to contain the aliens, not a fight. But according to the police, they showed up so deep because they said the teenagers were setting off fireworks, but at first people thought it was something else going off. I can't say what on here. But they showed up deep because they thought it was going to be something a lot more serious, but then they just found out it was teenagers fighting and setting off fireworks. So assuming that is true, that would make sense that they would show up that deep if they thought it was something really serious. And there's a few claims out there that surveillance tapes were pulled and that people leaving the mall had to show the police their phone to let them check through it to make sure there's no footage of the shadowy figures. Now that only came from one source, so I can't really confirm that. So if you were there in Miami, definitely let us know in the comments if that did happen. People also reported strange power outages across Miami, which were a real thing, and according to the official report, that was because of a car accident in Miami Gardens. And they later claimed that this clip of the shadowy figure outside is altered with CGI, and this is the original clip. Which, in my opinion, still doesn't really explain that much. The official story seems to cover pretty much everything except for this strange video, so this one is kind of up in the air. I could see how chaos would ensue either way, and it may not have gone as viral if it wasn't for this Las Vegas UFO sighting, which I think is pretty wild, and I've watched the video 100 times at least, and I'm still pretty mind blown. It's one of those videos where you have to really look for it, but once you find it and see it, you can't unsee it. It took me like 15 or 20 tries of watching it to really be able to point it out and be like, oh, that's it.
911 emergency.
Minutes later,
There's like an 8-foot person beside it, and another one's inside, and it has big eyes and looking at us, and it's still there.
If you guys want to deep dive on this video, let me know.
When you go to a trampoline park for a birthday party, you sign your kid in at the front, right?
Yeah.
You do the iPad. You don't realize there's 90 pages of legal documents under that. And they included a forced arbitration clause where they can include a non-disparagement agreement or an NDA and a confidentiality agreement. So if kids are falling off trampoline parks all across the United States, 1, they're not allowed to go public because they can get sued. 2, they are forced into a secret arbitration, so there's no court documents anyone can find. Well, during my case, a whistleblower came to me and he said, hey, I want you to know we fought to try to save you, but we failed. And he sent me all of these documents that were from a second legal case that had been sealed.
Whoa.
And they'd spent millions of dollars to seal it so no one see the documents from it. In those documents, there was a letter that said that the safety company for urban air franchises had gone to the CEO and said, you cannot pull the harness checkers on these zip lines because kids will get injured, they will die. And the CEO or their team at the CEO headquarters overruled them. And just weeks later, Mia fell. But it was happening in trampoline parks all over the United States.
Man. Everything we have ever bought still exists on Earth today. The Earth cannot sustain this rate.
The trade war may be a trap, and it's not what you may think. What if the U.S.-China trade war isn't a war at all? What if the tariffs, the headlines, and the market panic are part of something much bigger? Right now, China has imposed a 34% tariff on U.S. goods. Trump, in response, is threatening 50%. The world sees conflict, but maybe it's coordinated. Think about it. For decades, the U.S. has been economically drained through unfair trade, global financial manipulation, and one-sided deals mostly influenced by European and British financial institutions. Now Trump comes back on the scene. But instead of launching a direct fight against those entrenched powers in London, Brussels, and Davos, he does something else. He creates chaos. He lets China play the aggressor on paper, triggering market panic. Meanwhile, European elites with billions invested across the U.S. and Chinese markets scramble to reposition their assets, and it's happening. And here's the move. As they shift funds, Trump and his allies watch. They track transactions, offshore plays, strategic exits. Every panic move, well, they log it. Then the trap closes. In April, the trade war resolves, markets rebound, but those who bet against the U.S., well, they lose. And Trump's allies, they buy up what the elites don't. Cheap. Suddenly, Trump holds the leverage. The real enemy isn't China. It's the global financial structure that's been siphoning American wealth for decades. And China, well, they get a weakened Western system, new markets, and a partner in reshaping global trade. Because maybe this isn't a fight between Trump and China. Maybe it's a collaboration, a double bluff, just to expose the old world order and reset the board. Now, I'm not saying this is actually what's happening, but if you step back far enough, you have to admit, it's sort of a smart way to play the game, isn't it?
Everybody's talking about the Diddy trial. Something similar. I was groomed for 2.5 years by a really famous celebrity, and I haven't had the courage to publicly speak about it because I am terrified of this man and he's really rich. I have endless pictures, screenshots, DMs. I have gifts that he gave me. I have his clothes at my house that are like super fancy. I kept them for evidence. But I just saw this TikTok about how P. Diddy like looks like he's dying because he doesn't have access to like, he's an energy vampire, and how he's like, you know, he takes energy from young people and he's like old, like 55 or whatever, and I'm sure he is sleeping with girls who are 18, 19. This celebrity that I was seeing when I was 18, 19, 20, one time, he put his hand on my thigh and he looked at me and said, "I want your stem cells." What? Yeah, and I'm not even lying. And I watch a lot of TikToks about like those conspiracies and like people in Hollywood like eating kids or like, you know, just harvesting young energy because they want to stay young forever or whatever the fuck. I don't know. Is this real? Like, I'm so confused.
Go to bed hungry, meaning no snacks. After you eat your dinner, after you have your one snack for the day, let's say that's a protein bar, or if it's some fruit, if you are laying in bed and you just are feeling like you want to munch on something, just go to bed. That's the biggest thing that's going to help you lose a lot of body fat. Because if your whole meal plan is perfect, but you're snacking late at night, that will be the thing that keeps you stuck. Practice forcing yourself to just go to bed. Drink water if you must. Now, if you need fitness coaching, DM me the word coach.
Have y'all?
True, y'all. And the day I lose weight, I'm gonna be giving you guys a lot of knowledge on that, because I've gone from 278 down to 193, you know, back up to 250, down to 205. So I know how to lose weight. It's struggling right now, but when I do, I'm gonna be giving you guys a lot of knowledge and tips, y'all. I can't do it now, right? You know, I get comments all the time. How's someone that's fat gonna give us diet advice, right? But one day.
What happens at the airport now if you do not have the real ID, the new license? This is totally dystopian. So first, when Resilient LA got to the airport, the first thing they did when they found out she did not have it was they took her and moved her to the side for like 10 to 15 minutes for everybody to see. So basically, act like you are some sort of criminal or something and separate you. Look how subliminal this is. They give them a red sheet of paper, red of all colors, talking about how they are non-compliant. Think about modern day schools, how they mimic modern day prisons, even like getting in line and doing certain things is all subliminal. And then the swabbing of the hands, almost like frisking, like again, like you have been pulled aside and dehumanized by the system that you are not going to walk with. The craziest part is this, not only did the whole ordeal take like an hour, they also swiped her phone the same way they swiped her hands. Just think for a minute of what kind of technology they could have and what they could be getting from the phone. I guarantee there's more going on than meets the eye. Get with the system or we will alienate you and make you so uncomfortable to the point where you just get with whatever we say.
Best temperature to keep your thermostat?
For summer, 78.
Yes! Ew, you're sick.
No,
78? That is a terrarium.
No, I knew that's what they would say.
Oh, disgusting. I get so mad when I go to my parents' house.
70? Are you nuts? I didn't say I like it. I'm saying that's what they would say. 78.
The Department of Energy recommends keeping a home warmer than usual when you're out of the house to avoid unnecessary energy costs, and utility companies across the U.S. are recommending that 78 degrees Fahrenheit is the ideal temperature. The DOE also recommends vacuuming the dust out of your vents and weather stripping your house to keep the cool air from leaking out.
There's a creator on here, I'll tag her down below, that believes that there are portals at Walmart. And as far-fetched as that sound, I can 100% confirm that she is in fact right. I shared this story a while back on here, but for those of you guys who haven't heard it, I'll give you a quick little rundown. I was working night shift around this time. On this day, I happened to get out of work early, which meant it was about 3 a.m. 3 a.m. was my favorite time to go grocery shopping because I knew there was no one at Walmart. So I pulled up to the Walmart parking lot. There's no other cars there, which was a little odd, but I didn't really think much of it because it was 3
at 3
a.m.
o'clock.
As I'm making my way out of my car and walking towards the entrance, these 3 ladies just randomly appear out of nowhere. They just started walking in with me. Thought it was a little weird, but at first I'm like, well, maybe they just walked here, or I don't know. And I looked over at these 3 females. They looked as if they had crawled out of a sewer. Like, it was something that I had never seen before. But again, wasn't gonna judge. I decided to kind of just go my way, and they went their way. As I'm walking in, I noticed there's a person at the cash register, but there's nowhere else. So I'm still making my way towards the back when I noticed that these 3 girls are now following me. At first, I was just like, oh, they must just be going the same way. But I noticed that they're like kind of grouped together, like whispering to each other. And at one point, I hear what one of them says my name. And I'm like freaking out. I'm like, how the hell did they know my name? Man, I had just gotten out of the hospital, so I check and I'm like, make sure I'm not wearing my ID, and I wasn't. So I'm like, how did they know my name? So I'm like, okay, this is weird. I decided to hide in like the women's department to try to like lose them so they would just go away and leave me alone. And so I'm like in the women's department, kind of like bent down. I see one at the corner of my eye come around and goes, there she is. The minute she said that, the other 2 started to laugh, but this like eerie laugh, and I kicked into like a fight or flight mode where I knew that I was in danger and I needed to get as far away from these people as I possibly could.
My husband asked me this question yesterday, and it's been driving me crazy. How come when you blow out of your mouth onto your hand like this, it's hot air, but when you blow out of your mouth like this, it's cold air? What the hell?
This guy actually created worms that eat plastic. Now, I know what you're thinking. Why?
No, I was actually thinking, what's their byproduct?
I don't know, but there's a video of them eating straight through a styrofoam container. If they just let these things out in the environment, these things would literally just go eat all the plastic out there.
Yeah, but like I said, what's the waste? If the waste is plastic, then you're not really fixing anything. If it converts it into something that's useful, that's not plastic, that's a little bit more deterioratable, let's invest in the worms. What kind of energy are they getting from this plastic?
Their systems, it breaks down organic building blocks to utilize them as carbs and energy.
That is interesting if they have a metabolizing system that can convert petroleum-based products into some type of glucose. It's like when you eat nothing but protein and you don't have any carbs, your body goes into this thing called gluconeogenesis, where it converts proteins into glucose. Maybe worms have something like that where it converts petroleum into some type of glucose.
All right, family. There you have today's video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you made it this far, leave a like, comment, subscribe. Got a lot done this morning, y'all. Woke up early, drank my coffee, of course. Cleaned my grill. It's been filthy. I've been wanting to clean it, but I knew these dust storms were going to be happening, right? Very bad dusty season this season, but the wind is supposed to slow down for the next week or 2 at least. So I bought me some good like grill degreaser. I cleaned the heck out of my grill. It looks brand new. Got that done. Cleaned my yard because we had some dust storms the past couple of days. So I blew everything out. All the little yard decorations that were blown all over the place, picked that up. I watered my synthetic grass because all the dust kicks up on the dogs so they can go out there and lay down in the sun. It's finally looking like it's going to be nice summertime. During this video, I had my landscaper come. He's going to give me a quote on some pavers in the backyard. So yeah, I got a lot done today, and tomorrow I'll be back with the baby. My family's not coming this week no more because I'm sick. The baby's kind of sick, so we postponed it to next week. So hopefully the backyard's done by the time they come. That way it's nice and clean out there and all that. So that was my day today, y'all. That was my Tuesday, and that's what happened. When you do things like that, you have a good day, y'all. Still not feeling the best. As you guys can tell, I coughed this whole episode. I apologize. This cough is annoying. I got mucus all right here, and but we're getting better. I feel better today. I woke up feeling had a clear mind. So but right now I got to go to Walmart. I got to get the baby some diapers. I got to do some Amazon returns, and I'll probably get me some chicken wings at Peter Piper, y'all. I haven't ate nothing. It's 1:30. I haven't ate yet, so I'll probably get some chicken wings, come home, have a nice salad with it, and dinner. I'm cooking on that grill, y'all. But I hope everyone out there has a good day. This is Segovia. I'm signing out of the Man Cave. I'm gonna see you guys on the next one tomorrow. Later.